This is my best teams video for Catch Cup of Great League, but let's be honest, at some point, at least after the very first day, we're gonna see the complete meta of Great League, and since we're gonna have Great League the week after, I decided to make a best teams video for Open Great League, while I'm not gonna showcase any Pokemon that could not be in the meta of Catch Cup, something like a Cresselia or something like a Registeel. Of course, Cresselia you can get in the Sinnoh, but we have to wait a little bit for that. So without any further ado, cue the intro. We're starting off the video and we're gonna have a Quagsire up in front at the back a Mandibuzz with the Toxapex. This team is looking very good, and that's mainly because of the crazy synergy that this ABA team style is having. I really like how well you can manipulate your opponents to aggressively switch in there with your Mandibuzz, draw out something that your Toxapex is afraid of, let's say something like a Bastiodon for example, then Quagsire can return into the battle, finish off that Pokemon with absolute ease, and right after you can have the upper hand on whatever follows, and especially whatever remains at the back with your Toxapex at the very end with at least 2 shields remaining on your asset. This team is looking pretty strong. The only core breaker that I could found is gonna be this one, the Gligar, and of course Gligar can dominate against your Toxapex. For a moment I forgot its name. Having the Mandibuzz on your team can absolutely mean that at some point you can easily outbulk the Gligar, but still it can be kind of an even and close matchup for both ends, while your Quagsire, the only thing that can throw on the Gligar is gonna be Stone Edge, and because both of these Pokemon are gonna be in the range of 2 of those moves, even a double aerial ace can finish off your Shadow Quagsire if you are not careful, or just go with that double Stone Edge, you can have the upper hand. So this is another kind of an iffy scenario for your team. So Gligar definitely a core breaker and a big one, but this is only the start of the video, and later on we're gonna have even stronger teams. But before we hop into the second team recommendation, I want to share with you that this team is gonna get to those charge attacks fairly easy. We're talking about moves like Aerial Ace being charged up with Snarl, or even Mud Bomb, which can easily be charged up with your Mudshot. So for Quagsire, if you're going to become an even spammer threat, feel free to use Aqua Tail, which is its legacy community day move, but to be fair, I think that with Mud Bomb and that Stone Edge you are still gonna have the upper hand over your opponents. So standard moveset for your Quagsire, but for Mandibuzz you definitely want to keep the Aerial Ace, while for your second move I do not recommend going for foul play. Instead use your Dark Pulse for some little bit of extra damage that can be absolutely clutch on that glassy format of Great League and eventually Catch Cup. Right straight now into the next team composition, where we're having the amazing Poliwrath that was pretty refreshing to see this season both on Ultra League and Great League. So here we're gonna have it in a very strong line and a kinda unique one with Bastiodon at the back and of course Cofagrigus. Not even Runrigus, we need Cofagrigus here because it can hit like a truck with its moves, and because this Pokemon is mainly afraid of the dark types, I think that the other two can absolutely protected from that threat, because anything else is gonna be absolutely playable, and that's why I'm enjoying using Cofagrigus on this format. If you do not have one, feel free to replace it with something like a Trevenant. It is still gonna use its full capabilities as a ghost type with Shadow Ball, while you still get coverage against severe threats, something like a Whiskas or a Quagsire at the back with a Sibyl Seed Bomb. But with Cofagrigus you get that extra bulk, which is always nice, and you can always rely on those nukes, either the Dark Pulse or the Shadow Ball or even the Psychic, if you feel like you have to use it for some extra push against your opponents. This team is looking very strong because of how deadly the charge attacks can be, and of course because of Poliwrath I have here a Shadow one, but feel free to use the regular one if you have it, because this Pokemon is absolutely insane because of its moveset. Counter is gonna be its legacy move, which is a must have to be fair. fair, while your Scald can easily outplay a lot of opponents, especially with its crazy damage output in combination with a chance to drop the opposing attack stat. Icy Wind can do the same, but at the cost of sacrificing some power to guarantee the attack drop on the opponent, so we're looking at an all-around Pokemon. If I were gonna pick a core breaker for this team, I would go either for a Trevenant or another ghost type, something like this Annihilate, to be fair, because those two can have a severe impact on our lead option, that is of course Poliwrath, while at the back one can easily finish off our Cofagrigus, while the other can absolutely wreak havoc on our defense against our Bastiodon, because Annihilate, if you didn't know already for some weird reason, that counter damage is absolutely absurd. Heading now into the next team showcase, and we're having a Skarmory up in front, that Umbreon at the back alongside Annihilate. We're looking at a very scary team which has almost no weakness at all throughout the entire meta, and I say almost because besides that Azumarill over here, which happens to be the core breaker, just a soft one, okay, you can still encounter it with your last resorts from your Umbreon, you still can have the upper hand with that one if you manage to get the Brave Bird through its bulk, and of course even on the end game, if you happen to land both of those Shadow Balls, you can eventually take it out. But Azumarill is still gonna be a thick monster. Besides Azumarill though, another big threat is gonna be Registeel, but the reason I have not included that Pokemon as a core breaker in this left graph is because Registeel was not introduced at all this season, so unless you have participated in the Senior Tour and you managed to have it on the party play Regigigas event, whatever that is gonna be called, you cannot have a chance at using Registeel in the Great League. So this team can absolutely take the advantage of that on Catch Cup, and of course you can have the upper hand over your opponents, especially with the insane synergy that this team is having. I really like how this team can provide a lot of pressure with those charge attacks, and one mention before I hop into the final one, well, for your Annihilate, I recommend going for Shadow Ball and Ice Punch, while close combat that I have over here is a spicy option and it is not gonna help you that much. And one last thing about your Umbreon, do not go for the Dark Pulse, just feel free to have foul play and last resort, and you're gonna be just fine against most threats on the entire Catch Cup. We're heading now into the final team recommendation that I have for you for Catch Cup. Of course I know that this team is not gonna be that great in Catch Cup, especially if you try to build it around, but still if you want to be great, this team is gonna be absolutely insane, not only on Catch Cup but also on the Open Great League format, so this is gonna be a long time investment for sure. So we're looking at Dugong up in front, which is gonna be dominating even those grass types, which is pretty great and will provide extra coverage for flying types, which is gonna be something that your backline is definitely gonna struggle with. So having at the back Whiskas with Serperior is gonna mean that we can have a lot of pressure with some spammy moves, and of course in the process we might get some extra debuffs on the way. Not only you got the Icy Winds, which can get a guaranteed debuff on the opposing side, but also Scald, which can connect for big damage and have a chance at debuffing the opponent at the same time. We're looking at a very good team that I think has only one strong weakness in the meta, and that is Ferrothorn. So Ferrothorn is gonna be able to dominate with its steel typing that Dugong matchup, but at the same time is a grass type, which means that those Drillans are not gonna deal super effective damage, and of course at some point it can still have a favorable matchup against our backline. The grass typing will not be appreciated at all by Whiskas, and at the same time it can even destroy down our Serperior if we are not careful over there. So Ferrothorn is gonna be a core breaker, but are you gonna see a lot of Ferrothorns? I do not think so. Just keep in mind that this is gonna be a core breaker for you, but this team can really excel on a whole different level in Catch Cup. Of course I know that once again you need a lot of resources to build up this team, especially with the legacy moves, and on Dugong you need double of those those elite TMs. But if you manage to get your hands on a very good IV Dugong, I suggest to you that you need to go for it, because Dugong is gonna be an amazing option overall, and especially up against those Glygars. So that is gonna be all for today, trainers. Thank you for watching and for staying till the end. I hope that you had a nice time watching this video, and as you can see over here, I have 2 more videos for you to check out. But before you go, just be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and now I will catch you up later into the next one.